Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling like you were subtly talked down to, or that your presence simply didn't command the respect you knew you deserved? Have you ever noticed how some people can walk into a room and immediately capture the attention and admiration of everyone around them, even without speaking loudly? Most people mistakenly assume that status, charisma, and authority are about being the most aggressive person in the room, wearing the most expensive clothes, or constantly bragging about a long list of achievements. But true authority doesn't shout. True authority is quiet, intentional, and intricately woven into the very words you use every single day. The ancient Stoics understood a profound and timeless truth. A disciplined mind is reflected in disciplined speech. Every time you open your mouth, you are painting a vivid psychological picture of your character for the entire world to see. Words may seem small, almost invisible in the rapid flow of casual conversation, but they are the building blocks that shape the invisible hierarchy of every room you enter. Right now, without even realizing it, you might be relying on common, polite phrases that are secretly undermining your authority and minimizing your worth in the eyes of your peers, bosses, and partners. Today, we are going to completely overhaul your verbal operating system. We are going to deconstruct the passive, submissive language you have been conditioned by society to use and replace it with 8 highly effective, status-elevating responses grounded in psychology and Stoic philosophy. These aren't cheap manipulative tricks. They are profound psychological shifts that project immense confidence, competence, and self-respect. By the end of this journey, you will possess a verbal toolkit that immediately commands respect, alters power dynamics in your favor, and leaves a lasting, magnetic impression on absolutely everyone you interact with. Let us begin with the first shift. How do you respond when someone looks at you and says, "Thank you"? If you are like the vast majority of the population, your default, knee-jerk response is a quick, automatic, "You're welcome," or perhaps even worse, "No problem," or "No worries." It sounds polite on the surface, doesn't it? But psychologically, we must examine what you are actually communicating to the other person's subconscious. When you say "no problem," you are subtly attaching a negative linguistic frame to your favor, suggesting that your baseline is inconvenience. When you casually brush a genuine thank you off with "You're welcome," you are unintentionally minimizing your own effort and sacrifice. You are telling the other person that what you did wasn't a big deal, thereby instantly lowering the perceived value of your time, your energy, and your expertise. Instead of this, you must elevate your response. The next time someone thanks you for a favor, a piece of advice, or your hard work, look them directly in the eye, pause for a fraction of a second, and say, "It was my pleasure." Or, if it is a close colleague or friend, say, "You can always count on me." Do you feel the immense difference in gravity? This subtle, elegant shift entirely removes the passive dismissal of your effort. It demonstrates unequivocally that you value yourself and that you recognize the heavy weight of your contribution. It signals that your time and effort carry immense, undeniable value, and that you consciously and generously chose to bestow that value upon them. This instantly raises your status from a subservient helper to an equal, powerful, and respected ally. Moving to our second psychological shift, this is a scenario that happens to absolutely all of us in the modern world. You hit unexpected traffic, your previous meeting runs over, or you simply lose track of time, and you arrive late to an important meeting, a dinner, or a date. The immediate, panicky reaction is almost universally to burst through the door radiating frantic, chaotic energy and immediately blurt out, "Sorry I'm late." "I am so sorry." You immediately position yourself in a state of deep debt and submission. You are practically begging for their forgiveness, which forces the other person's brain to focus entirely on your failure, your lack of punctuality, and your apparent lack of respect for their time. You are shining a massive spotlight on your flaw. Stop apologizing for your mere existence. Instead of offering a weak, trembling apology, perfectly flip the psychological script. Walk into the room calmly. Forcefully maintain your composure and your breath. Make eye contact and say thank you for waiting. I deeply appreciate your patience. This is an absolute masterstroke in human social dynamics. You instantly and seamlessly shift the conversational focus away from your guilt and redirect it toward their positive, virtuous trait, their patience. You are secretly complimenting them, which makes their ego feel good, rather than making them dwell in irritation over your mistake. It reframes the entire interaction from a low-status, pleading apology to a high-status exchange of gratitude and mutual respect. You acknowledge the delay, but you do so from an unshakable place of emotional control and unwavering authority. Number 3 addresses a deeply ingrained trap in everyday relationships and dating dynamics. When a friend, a romantic partner, or a business colleague asks you what you want to eat, where you want to go, or what activity you want to do, you must never, ever reply with the word whatever, or the equally damaging phrase, I don't care, you pick. Society wrongly tells us that being endlessly easygoing and having zero preferences makes us highly likable. But in cold, hard reality, chronic indecisiveness is incredibly frustrating, draining, and unattractive to others. It forces the heavy burden of choice and cognitive load entirely onto their shoulders. More importantly, it signals a complete lack of leadership, a lack of vision, and a lack of self-knowledge. A high-status individual always knows what they want, but they also profoundly understand how to delegate beautifully. The next time you are asked to make a choice, and you genuinely want the other person to take the wheel, replace your passive indecision with active, empowering trust. Say, you choose. I completely trust your taste. This completely transforms the interpersonal dynamic. It shifts you from an apathetic, passive bystander into a confident, gracious leader who is empowering someone else. You are simultaneously validating their judgment and complimenting their taste. Calm confidence signals deep leadership, and giving someone else the stage while remaining entirely anchored in your own self-assurance is the ultimate social power move. Number 4 takes us into the realm of professional competence. Imagine you are in a high-stakes meeting, an interview, or a complex conversation, and someone asks if you know how to do a specific task or use a specific tool. If you lack the exact experience, your knee-jerk reaction might be a defensive, deflated, and quiet, I don't know, or I've never done that before. While honesty is absolutely vital, blunt, unadorned ignorance immediately signals incompetence and drastically lowers your perceived value in that room. The high-status individual approaches the unknown not as an intimidating brick wall, but as an exciting open door. Instead of shutting down the conversation and your own potential with a flat, I don't know, pivot immediately to your boundless potential. Look at them with unyielding confidence and say, I can learn it quickly. Or, I haven't tackled that specific issue yet, but I am an incredibly fast learner and I will figure it out for you. In the real world, absolute, immediate certainty is incredibly rare. What visionary leaders and highly successful people are actually looking for is not a walking encyclopedia, but rather dynamic capability, raw resourcefulness, and a fierce, unstoppable willingness to adapt and conquer new territory. When you respond with, I can learn it quickly, you are broadcasting a bulletproof growth mindset. You are reassuring them that you are a relentless problem solver who does not retreat an inch when faced with a challenge. You maintain your high status because your confidence is rooted entirely in your proven ability to figure things out, not just the static facts you currently hold in your brain. Number 5 is a brilliant strategy for handling extreme intellectual pressure. Sometimes you are asked a direct, pointed question about a niche topic, a piece of obscure trivia, or an opinion on a highly complex global issue, and your mind simply goes blank. You simply do not have the answer. Saying, I have absolutely no idea, abruptly kills the momentum of the conversation and immediately positions you as intellectually disengaged or uneducated. But a person of high social status never, ever lets a conversation die an awkward death. Instead of simply pleading ignorance and shrinking back, turn the powerful spotlight outward. Say, I actually don't have enough information on that specific detail yet. That is a fascinating question, though. What do you think about it? This brilliant conversational pivot achieves 2 massive victories simultaneously. First, it demonstrates deep, unshakable intellectual honesty. You aren't insecurely pretending to know something you don't. But second, and far more importantly, it shows intense, active curiosity. It graciously invites the other person to share their specialized expertise, making them feel incredibly valued, seen, and intelligent. High-status people are deeply curious beings. They are absolutely not threatened by the vast universe of what they do not know. By asking, what do you think? You effortlessly take command of the flow of the conversation, directing it like a maestro, while actively listening, learning, and letting the other person shine. Number 6 tackles a psychological hurdle most people face daily. How do you handle a compliment? Think very carefully about the last time someone praised your hard work, your physical appearance, or your razor-sharp intelligence. Did you immediately deflect it? Did you nervously laugh and say, "Oh, this old thing? I got it on clearance." Or, "Oh, it wasn't me, I just got really lucky this time." Or, "No, I actually messed up this one part." We deflect compliments because we have been falsely programmed to believe that self-deprecation makes us appear humble and relatable. But deflecting a compliment is, in reality, a deeply low-status behavior. It awkwardly rejects the other person's generous gift of praise, making them feel foolish for offering it, and it aggressively signals a deep-seated, painful lack of self-worth on your part. It tells the entire room that you fundamentally do not believe you deserve the wonderful things being said about you. A truly confident, high-status individual unapologetically owns their space and their achievements. When someone compliments you, do not brush it away into the dirt. Simply pause, smile warmly, maintain steady eye contact, and say, "Thank you. That means a lot to me." Or, "Thank you, I put a lot of hard work into that project." Receiving appreciation with unbothered poise and confidence shows profound self-respect. It validates the other person's good judgment and physically reinforces the reality that you are a person of exceedingly high value who is entirely comfortable in your own skin. Stop apologizing for your greatness and start absorbing it with regal grace. Number 7 applies perfectly to situations where you are hosting, treating others, or demonstrating generosity. Imagine you invite friends or colleagues over for a dinner party, and you lay out a massive, beautiful, extravagant feast. A guest inevitably looks at the overflowing table, their eyes wide, and says, "Wow, this is way too much food. You went to far too much trouble for us." The low-status conditioned instinct is to immediately downplay your massive effort or even apologize for it, nervously saying something like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I just wasn't sure how much people would eat," or "It really wasn't any trouble at all, I just threw it together." This entirely diminishes the immense value of your hospitality. Instead of apologizing for your beautiful abundance, fully embrace your powerful role as a generous, abundant provider. Look your guest in the eye, smile with deep warmth, and say, "You deserve to enjoy it." This single phrase is unbelievably powerful. It instantly shuts down any awkward, lingering guilt they might feel about being pampered, and it elevates them by explicitly stating they are highly worthy of your extravagant time and effort. True, high-status generosity never requires an apology or an excuse. When you own your generosity confidently, you establish yourself as a pillar of abundance and warmth, someone who operates from a mindset of having more than enough to give, and who takes deep, quiet pride in elevating the emotional state of the people around them. This brings us directly to our 8th and final principle, the foundational rule that ties all of this psychological mastery together. Always, without exception, be hyper-mindful of exactly how you speak. Every single word you choose to let past your lips either constructs and strengthens your presence, or it actively dismantles and weakens it. The legendary Stoic philosophers, from the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius to the brilliant Epictetus, practiced profound, relentless awareness over their internal thoughts and their external actions. But they also deeply recognized that human speech is the ultimate action. They believed that words should never be thrown into the world carelessly, like cheap coins. Speech must always be highly thoughtful, entirely deliberate, and razor-sharp in its intentionality. The way you speak is the single most powerful tool you possess to shape the narrative of how the world responds to you. When you meticulously strip away the nervous filler words, the unnecessary, groveling apologies, the weak, self-deprecating humor, and the passive, insecure deflections, what remains is a solid core of unshakable, magnetic confidence. You will literally begin to walk through the world differently. People will stop checking their phones and start to actively lean in and listen when you speak, not because you are the loudest, most obnoxious person shouting over the noise, but because every single word you deploy carries genuine gravity and weight. They will subconsciously sense the ironclad boundaries you have set around your self-respect. They will feel the deliberate, unhurried pacing of your sentences and the crystal-clear clarity of your intent. Mastering your words is the first crucial, non-negotiable step in mastering how people perceive your character. But far more importantly than how others see you, Mastering your speech completely transforms how you perceive yourself. When you force yourself to start speaking like a person who highly values their own time, their massive effort, and their deep intellect, your internal psychological reality will rapidly begin to match your external, confident projection. You will completely stop feeling like an anxious imposter hoping to be liked, and you will start feeling like the unshakable authority figure you are presenting to the world. You will build an inner citadel of confidence that cannot be breached by the opinions of others. So the very next time you step into a crucial business meeting, sit down on an important first date, or even just casually interact with a stranger at a coffee shop, remember the immense, world-bending power sitting right there, waiting on the tip of your tongue. Refuse to shrink yourself. Replace "you're welcome" with "it was my pleasure." Replace "sorry I'm late" with "thank you for waiting." Replace a weak "I don't know" with a fierce "I will learn it quickly." Take these 8 psychological master keys, seamlessly integrate them into the very fabric of your daily life, and watch in awe as your status, your quiet confidence, and the deep respect you effortlessly command from others absolutely transform right before your eyes. Speak with clear intention. Speak with undeniable authority. And speak exactly as the powerful, respected person you are destined to become.